Hi, it's Robin again at Toadstool Tarot. I've been thinking in the same way everybody has a favorite tarot deck that they like to use, they should also have a tarot journal for exploring that deck and other new decks that they might acquire. It's always helpful, I think, to just sit with your cards in a cafe and look at them and make notes on them. So I'd advise you travel down to your corner stationery store and find one that you love, one that really works for you. Now, when it comes to tarot decks and boxes that house them, the boxes don't always house my favorite decks. My favorite boxes don't always house my favorite decks, but sometimes they do. I'm very partial to these magnetic enclosured boxes. This is the Seventh Sphere Tarot, which you can see me walk through on my channel. But I really like that magnetic enclosure on the box. Also, one of my top two favorite tarots is the White Witch Tarot. This also has a magnetic enclosure, though this one doesn't have a magnetic flap. It has a little tug ribbon, and the top panel is magnetic. So, when it came time to look for a tarot journal, I wanted a magnetic one, and they're a little bit harder to find. But I did find this one. A lot of them have themes to them, which I'm not keen on. I just wanted something that looked antique-y and special, like like an old grimoire or something, or Book of Shadows. This looks like a little brown leather bound book with gold trim on it. There's a little ribbon to keep your place, and a magnetic enclosure that snaps with a lovely sound. I like that, so that the pages, when they're in your bag or when you carry them around, stuff doesn't get into the edges and confines, damaging the pages. It's self-contained, so I like that a lot. So, it opens like so, and you can write in it, and there's a little ribbon bookmark to mark your place. Now, this is a pretty small one, so it doesn't allow for very much per page, but sometimes I find it's just enough for, say, a 3-page spread, and I'll give you an example. One of my early entries I'll share with you. This is a 3-card spread I did. Usually, if I do a spread for myself, I'll just lay out 3 cards in a row, and I'll say, what do you have to tell me for, what's coming up this week or in the near future, or have you got anything that I should know about or pay attention to? So anyway, I laid out this spread from the White Witch Tarot. So in my journal, I put the date, I put the name of the tarot, the deck that I'm using, I list the 3 cards, and then under each card, I write my impressions or interpretations of what I see that particular time and place in the card. So the first card in this entry on November 17th that I pulled from the White Witch Tarot, these are the backs of the cards, by the way. This was the Star. Don't know if you can see it. These don't photograph well, but they are incredible cards. So, what I wrote about the star, this particular star, in order to radiate without, you must first radiate within. You can pass on goodness and compassion if you have it to spare, to share. The second card I picked was Judgment. judgment. Don't allow thought balloons of doubt to hang over you like clouds, clouding your judgment. And the third card was the Tower. Sometimes your vision needs shaking up or readjustment. One eye needs to be opened a little wider to see from a new perspective. So these are just brief notes or impressions on these cards. I like to meditate a little bit on the imagery in the cards. And this particular deck, the White Witch Tarot, is, I think, very deep and of a very psychological, therapeutic sort of stance. I mean, you really have, the images aren't, readily apparent at first glance. You really need to dive deep into them to glean something from them. But anyway, the focus of this video wasn't meant to be about this deck of these cards, but about encouraging you all to invest in a little tarot journal. Some of you will need a much larger journal or a different format. This one is simply lined pages in a book. But for me, the most important thing was the bookmark ribbon and the magnetic enclosure. And a delight to have and hold and carry around with me, so I'll use it, because isn't that the most important thing about having a journal, writing in the journal? If it's too unwieldy and you tend to leave it at home or not carry it with you or not find time to sit down and use it, what's the good of it? So anyway, I'm curious about your tarot journals, what you've chosen, what you picked to use. Talk to you soon. Bye.